Toronto, Ontario, April 17th. I am performing at Backroom Comedy Club. I'm doing 2 shows, 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. It's going to be so much fun. The last 2 shows that I did there, one in November, one in January. I'm doing kind of like a bi-monthly thing. We skip March. But the last 2 shows were a huge success. Both shows on each night we packed the room. We sold out, and I'm looking to go for the three-peat. So let's fucking do it. That is a great room for comedy. I love the space, and yeah, I'm gonna say no more about that. Also, on May 8th, I'm doing Mississauga, Ontario. Now we're in the suburbs. We're in my old stomping grounds at the legendary Franklin House in Streetsville, Ontario. That is a great venue for comedy and music. But it is at 9 p.m. on the Friday, May 8th, and that's going to be a great show. I'm probably going to get some family members out. It's a pretty good room. Yeah, some old buddies and anybody who lives in the area that's seen this movement, this movement that I'm starting. This movement. It's not really a movement at all. I gotta humble myself. I gotta fucking. I'm basically I give myself lashes before I go to bed every night just to basically, help just to remind me that I am a fallible, flawed human. No, yeah, it's gonna be great. If you've seen me, if you've seen the content, if you've seen anything, come out. It's gonna be a great night of stand up. Might bring out some of the impressions, and yeah, I'm fucking stoked. And I got some tour dates that are coming up that I'm soon gonna be announcing. I'm just working with some people right now. We're just hashing out the details and the logistics of everything, and I'm excited for this year. I've had a lot of changes and a lot of stuff that's been going on, and yeah, I'm full steam ahead with the stand up and the content stuff. So I appreciate everybody who's fucking stuck it out and stuck with me, followed the page, followed everything, and I appreciate it. Now on to the podcast. Something's off with Alex DeWitt. We are in yet another audio episode. I am in a basement currently in an undisclosed location. But we are doing another audio episode, and I'm not so happy about it. I had this camera that I still have it, but I'm trying to hook it up, and I'm trying to make sure that the sound quality is good enough, and the visual quality that they match properly. And it's all kind of an art putting all of that together. It's not really. You just have to be kind of you have to be skilled with the all the technicals. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a running gag at this point that it's like a video it's like a visual app because I can't get my camera working. Um, but yeah, a lot of stuff. I'm not happy that I can't see Cardi B. Cardi B is performing in Toronto this week. She's all over the place, and I'm sad that I can't see her. She's probably all over town, going into every fucking place that sells chopped cheese and shawarma, and she's just heckling the Lebanese guy behind the counter. That poor guy. That poor bastard. No, I'm very Cardi B, world sensation Cardi B is in town, and I'm gonna miss her. I like a lot of her music. I really do. I like the hole in the house, in the hole in the house, in the hole in the house. I like that song, and I like the other song where she's like, "There's some holes in the house, and the holes in the house, and the holes in the house." Just nothing but bangers, classics. And she's probably playing them right now, and I can't partake in the fun because I'm doing this, and I'm shooting videos, and I'm doing this. But I would love to just fucking get down with the Gen Zs. I'm an old man now, all of 34, about to be 35 in the summer. I got back pain. I got all kinds of stuff going on, but I would love to just behold in the house, in the holes in this house. No, Cardi B, humble beginnings. I'm old enough to remember Cardi B when she was just a simple influence. Like she was like a social media personality. That's what they call those people. This is before OnlyFans became a thing. You were just a social media personality. And Cardi B she would ride a mountain bike around town, shouting out at men, asking if she could give them fellatio. That was pretty much it. And humble beginning. She was, you got to create art. And now she's in every city, just selling out arenas, and I'm quite happy for her. Nothing but respect for Barty. Of course, I joke about Cardi B. I don't know if she was doing that. I distinctly remember a bike video where she's just riding around. She's like, "Come see me, I'm gonna be," I'm not gonna do the whole thing. Not gonna do the whole thing. I've been a lot's been going on in the life of old Alex DeWitt. I got laid off from my social media job, probably because they listened to me doing stuff like this. No, it was AI. It was all AI. Yeah, and it kind of stinks. Kind of stinks, the whole AI thing. I don't know what to do. There's not much you can do. Robots are taking over everything. Robots are going to be taking your job. They're going to be writing your essays. They're going to be fucking your wife. They're going to be doing everything. They are going to be moving in and raising your kids. Remember that movie, The Sixth Day, with Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is different because he had a clone that was made, like an actual human clone that was made from his DNA. They took the weird. Remember they tried to do that thing that was they wanted that to be iconic. That visual of Arnold Schwarzenegger with the eye thing, with the two mechanical eyes over him taking pictures. They wanted that to be a big thing that would be like parodied later on. And I rewatched that movie because it was on Netflix, and my God, a stinker if there ever existed one. But no, we're gonna have almost a 6 day situation where you are just going to one day come home from work and you're gonna see an AI clone blowing out your birthday candles. You're going to look through the window and you're going to see a guy who looks exactly like you. It turns out he's a robot, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can perhaps, I don't know, you can start a social media. You can be the guy on TikTok who is known for a robot fucked my wife. A robot's driving my kids to school. A robot is coaching my son's softball team. I can't do anything about it except just get this. I can't do anything except this paid partnership for Dave's Hot Chicken. Come on down to Dave's Hot Chicken. It is hot. Not like my sex life, which is ice cold. Not like the tech world, which has taken everything from me. But get this spicy Nashville chicken from Dave's Hot. Just make sure you get the Chipotle on the side. Speaking of Chipotle, my sexy wife was Puerto Rican. Now I have an android who looks like me banging my sexy Puerto Rican wife. And I'm just laying in bed smothering Chipotle sauce, just trying to remember the good days. Just some smothering Chipotle sauce on my face and on my tits and in my crotch. Because it reminds me of my Puerto Rican wife that is now just banging the robot in our garage. Anyways, yeah, just make sure you like and subscribe. It's going to be a lot like that. We're going to have a ton of just everything. I heard an interesting quote from somebody, and I don't know if it was a comic who said this, and I'm just jacking him. But I heard a quote where it's like, it's not the end of the world, it's the end of a world. It's not the end of the world, it's the end of a world. So we are entering a new world now. We are all hand in hand going into the world run by robot overlords. And quite frankly, I mean, a lot of people are pessimistic about this. I for one am actually quite excited. I'm always optimistic. I'm defying that Irish stereotype of like the Irish defeatism. You know, the Irish guys who are just, they're defeated. They're like, oh, things are the way they are. Everything's fucked. Everything's sad. Because there's a lot of that running through my veins. there's a lot of that kind of in my family that just kind of went unaddressed. You don't realize it as a kid, that people are kind of sad around you. And mind you, there were a lot of happy people around me. I'm never going to be this guy who's like, I'm not living in fucking Angela's ashes here. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of that kind of in that there's that Irish Catholic guilt and shame, and everybody's sad about fucking something. And, you know, I had an aunt who had who I love, but she had is just typical sort of Irish Catholic weird shit where it's like, she had a degree in psychology. And every kid, because of that, she would be around and she would like any kid that we knew with divorced parents, she'd be sitting there going, that kid doesn't have a chance. That kid's going to grow up to be a hooker. She's going to be a hooker. She's just going to be sucking android dick. That's what it was. It sounds but that's kind of what she was. Like Annie, it made me feel weird around friends of mine. Because, it was almost like if your parents were dead, you were better off than the kids who had parents that did not sleep in the same room together. Like, and I get kind of where she might be coming from, or people like that might be coming from, where it's like just the confusion and the trauma of just seeing your parents hate each other. But that had like a lasting impact on me, which I've only started to really kind of shake off. Well, now that I'm looking for, like a permanent, like I've been dating recently and I've been listening and going out with people and listening kind of to their life stories. And I'm now more like I'm going back to like, I need someone from like a stable place in life. I don't want any of those stories of like, every second weekend I would go to dad's house and he would just I'd have to watch him just tighten that belt around his arm and, just listen to The Who. And he just, right before he just shoved that syringe in and went into Valhalla, he'd say, go down and watch Care Bears for 6 hours. Daddy's going to sleep. I don't necessarily want that. God bless those people. Bless them. All right. But I don't exactly know if I want that as a partner, as I did not experience that. I had craziness in my life too. I had craziness in my childhood and fucking psychologist aunts and, who showed me horror movies and I had good times with that woman. Great times with that woman. By the way, not a bad woman at all. Quite funny, quite all these things. But my God, did we have great times just watching like schlocky horror movies when I was 11. She lived with my grandparents in Oakville, Ontario, in the condominiums where they retired. And my aunt was a school teacher, and she eventually just moved in when she moved back to the Toronto area. She moved in with them, and she lived there for a few years. And I remember I would go visit my grandparents, and naturally I would hang out with my aunt a lot. She was like this cool hip lady, and we would go down the street. We would walk to Mammoth Movies, which was the video store. Now just a thing of myth, by the way, the video store. But we would go down there and we would pick out like 3 movies. And I remember we would watch like movies of that moment that had just come out that were like R-rated. She would get me R-rated movies behind my parents' back and let me watch them. We watched one movie. It was called Play It to the Bone, starring Woody Harrelson and Antonio Banderas. They were 2 amateur boxers that get a shot at the title fight because the 2 title fighters, the guys on the title card, one goes to jail and then the other guy fucking overdoses. Like it just so happens to happen all in one night. And I was like, man, this is so badass. Fucking Woody Harrelson and Antonio. Every second word was fuck. There were tits. Lucy Liu is in it. I'm pretty sure she's in a wild sex scene with Antonio Banderas, or at least a wild sex scene for a 9-year-old. But I'm watching this and I'm like, it's so cool. It's this and that. And I rewatched it recently. Turd City, these can't all be bangers. The things you loved when you were a kid, you watch them, so many movies. Like Gran Torino was another one of those ones where I thought was so good when I was in my like in grade 12. And now I rewatch it, and I do think it's good. I do think it's a good movie. It's a competently made movie with a story. But, like, a lot of it's just so on the nose. Every goddamn scene is just Clint Eastwood's gotta he's gotta say a new slur for Asian people, and he's gotta do, like there's a scene in that movie, it happens, like, maybe an hour and a half in, where he's in the doctor's office, he's in the waiting room, and the movie, for some reason, believes that it keeps having to remind you that Clint Eastwood is a racist, that his 80-year-old Korean War veteran character is this old school racist who's pissed off that immigrants are moving in. And um so he's sitting in this waiting room and he's just looking around, and it's like a Muslim lady sitting over here, there's a black woman over here, there's an Indian guy over here, and he's just surrounded by people who don't look like him. And then the doctor comes out, and it's this, like, maybe 36-year-old Asian woman, and he's like, "What happened to Feldstein? My old dog, the guy I had for 40 years, what happened to Feldstein?" Because, a working class Polish Korean War immigrant really loves a guy named Feldstein. Yeah. Um, but she looks at him and she goes, "Well, Dr. Feldstein retired 10 years ago." Because she knows exactly the number of years that a person retired. And she just looks at him and goes, "I'm your new doctor. Dr. Chu." And she's like looking at, like, she says it in a way, delivers it in a way that she's almost taunting him. Like it's doing it not so much like to his character, it's doing it more for the audience to be like, oh my God. Like it's a laugh moment. And there's literally, it cuts to a close up of Clint Eastwood's face. He is red. He is red. And he just goes, you can almost hear a steam whistle sound as he's grunting. Yeah, but corny movie, fun movie, good. I would say good, but it's corny as shit. And goddamn, I'm probably gonna rewatch it this Easter weekend. I'm probably gonna rewatch it. It is Easter. Shit, I gotta. Seeing the family, the whole family's coming over. Everybody's we're having a ham dinner. I'm probably doing a set that night on Easter Sunday, which is really just kind of the kiss of death around people like my mom, who I do feel for that generation and the Christian aspect of everything, because it is slowly dying. There is obviously, there's been research that younger generations are going back to, and younger generations, including myself, like younger millennials, we are kind of reverting back to organized religion as a way to gain some direction, as a way to have some foundation. Because if it's not religion, then it's things like politics and ideology and political zealotry and consumerism and celebrity worship, and not even celebrity worship, like TikToker worship. There are people who are just praying at the altar of, a 24-year-old virgin guy who's just walking around the streets, uh, you know, coaxing police officers to hit him over the head with their baton. Like, that's content now, and people are fucking into it. People are into it. He's on the ground just getting absolutely rolled on by 6 cops. He's just getting fucking just the shit kicked out of him. And then he just, at a certain point, there's a break, and he just looks at the camera and he goes, "Make sure that you invest in crypto." And then that's that. So it's either like now you're going back to Jesus, or you're doing, you're the TikTok white nationalists. You're doing that. It's either or. And quite frankly, I would go with the Jesus stuff. I'd go with, regardless of the stuff, I grew up sort of, I wouldn't say within the Catholic Church, but sort of at the foot of the doorway of the Catholic Church. We went to church every now and then. People like my dad were altar boys, and obviously there's the jokes, and the priests are bad, and the priests are, playing the finger games in the back room, but and there's obviously all that shit. It's horrific, and those people should, if you're touching kids, you should fucking die. But at the same time, you have people, the vast majority that I knew who kind of grew up during that time had pretty, pleasant memories of the Catholic Church. That was like a time where like the memories were actually quite pleasant, depending on where you kind of grew up. And my dad was like this altar boy who knew priests and talked to priests. Priests were kind of involved in schooling and sports and all these things. I just belched. I don't know if the mic's gonna pick that up. I'm not wearing the headphones, but yeah, it was a really interesting time if you were kind of and there are people who are kind of going back to that. I haven't been in a church in a very long time. I've spent a large amount of my years being a little angry at the Catholic Church. I don't know why. I think I'm just kind of directing some frustration towards, because it was like this thing that like you had to do, and I'm blaming and it's really not what the Catholic Church has been really next to no issue in my life ever. If anything, it's kind of informed me and sort of informed my sense of humor and a lot of things just growing up in the Catholic school system, and the fucking characters you'd meet and teachers I had. And the Monsignor at my high school was just a guy who was like shaped like an egg, and he'd walk around, and like I kind of just have like I don't have bad memories relating to the church, right? So I'm going to be this person who's like, if you want to go back to church, might not be a bad idea, based on my subjective experience, which is all that matters. Might not be a terrible idea to go to church on Sunday. I know people who do. Like, I know more and more people who, like, every Sunday, it's like a routine where they go to church at like 9 a.m. They go to like the early morning mass, and then they all go out for breakfast afterwards. They're all just sitting around, just breaking bread over, coffee and fucking grits. I don't know why I said grits. I don't know. I fucking. It's like I grew up in Augusta, Georgia. Just fucking. I don't think I've ever seen. I've never eaten a grit in my life. But no, they're all having like bacon and eggs and with rye bread, and they're all just eating and having a good time. My mouth is watering just thinking about it. My mouth is watering thinking about priests and breakfast. No, it just doesn't seem like such a fucking bad idea now, given how chaotic the world is. People want order, people want direction, and people just want some type of foundation where, their life seems. A lot of these places, a lot of these countries that you see, and we used to make fun of them all the time, but growing up, all of my friends who were like Filipino, or my friends who were from like Caribbean backgrounds, they always had that grandmother that just lived in the house. She was just like she looked like E.T. She was so old. She was just, you'd go over to their homes and they'd have just a little E.T. grandma just like sitting in the corner. She'd be sewing, she'd have some witch doctor just playing over the stereo, just, whatever. Yeah, the cure for mumps is just, spill hyena's blood on your face and smear it around. Make sure there's extra Chipotle in there. But I remember they would have like these cute ladies that were over, and they would like be praying the rosary a lot of the time. And, say what you want about the Catholic Church's fucking the crimes that they've committed maybe in those countries, or like the maybe sort of the role they've had in colonizing those regions or whatever it is. Obviously there's that. But modern day, the church has acted as, whether you care about it or not, has been kind of a stabilizing force in a lot of those regions, which is why you see many of those communities, they do have families that are intact often. And I know I'm starting to sound like Jordan Peterson or whatever, but Filipinos, they love Jesus, and therefore, Philippine. You ever been over to a Filipino barbecue? You ever eaten shrimp in every goddamn food item? They've got shrimp and lobster in every goddamn food item. I slept over at a Filipino's house, and in the morning they fixed me a bowl of cereal. Guess what was in there? Shrimp in my Frosted Flakes. I said, God damn, your Manila upbringing must have been chaotic. But they're very stable, intact people. No, the Filipinos rule, and I think one of the reasons is that they have like stability, probably through religion in the church. Like, it seems like that. There's probably other things. I know I'm not simplifying everybody's fucking life down to, oh, they must have gone to church. There's probably a myriad of other things, obviously, and I don't know why I'm picking on Filipinos, but yeah, I think a lot of the time the church can be like a stabilizing force depending on where you are. Um, and I think in Ireland it's been that way in a lot of ways as well. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna talk more at a certain point. This is a good episode. I like this. I got some good fucking clips out of this. I shouldn't really say that. I shouldn't give you guys my methods of how I'm creating content over my podcast. It's like a chef revealing his ingredients. Um, I'm a master chef, everybody. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm the master chef of comedy podcasting. Something's Up podcast. Make sure if you guys are coming to those Toronto and Mississauga dates, the link's in my bio for tickets. I'm super excited. Let's get this thing going, guys, and let's get this tour going. It's going to be just Ontario dates for the tour right now, but I'm looking to just get the Ontario stuff going, and then I'm working on going out west, obviously Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, a few dates out there, and I'd love to see that part of the country. I've only been to Calgary on a layover, and I didn't leave the airport. And I want to do all that stuff over there out west, and then of course I want to go to the east. I want to do Halifax and Moncton and Newfoundland and all those things. I said Newfoundland, kind of interestingly. um, and then I'm working on doing stuff, obviously, south of the border. I get these people pecking at me all the time. Come to Nashville, come to Tulsa, come to Seattle. Obviously, get your ass to New York, come to like all these places. Like this has just been fucking unreal. So I'm trying to work on that. Obviously, I got to get the papers and stuff. ICE, don't come after me, ICE. I'm doing it legally. But yeah, this is fucking so cool. Something's Up podcast, everybody. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow me on Instagram, Alex DeWitt Comedy, and TikTok if you want. There it is.